It just reinforced who God says I am, how He sees me, and also when I started praying for people, things happened to them for the better. I didn't really want to drink anymore. It wasn't, He said don't drink, I just didn't want to. I didn't really drink that much, but...
When you say He said, who's He? You can say it, it's okay.
Okay.
I promise you won't seem crazy.
Okay. The Holy Spirit said not to drink anymore, so okay. So I didn't. And then I said, well, I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, because a lot of people we were with, they did. They didn't even notice that I wasn't. And just a lot of things like that. My attitude toward my husband changed, more positive, being more encouraging to him, even with my kids. And I started even more so making sure whatever their needs were, that I could be there, because I was still working, that I was there for them and all the other people that were in our house. We had a lot of visitors. So
when you came here to Las Vegas, you said that you were able to take a couple of years off work. What changed that made that possible?
Well, first of all, I never thought about not working. I didn't think it was an option. Like some husbands tell their wives they want them to stay home and take care of that. That was never an option for me. So when we moved from Hawaii to Vegas, the dynamics for my oldest son was really hard. It was very, very hard. He went into 8th grade, and the way that the kids were around here was just really difficult. And he was very user-friendly. He always had a lot of friends. Everybody enjoyed him and his choices and all that type of thing. So I knew I needed to be home for a while. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And at the time that was going on, they offered leave of absence for a while from work. And my husband wasn't in a really good place during that time. The stock market had crashed and he was depressed. So, and he was still working. But anyway, so I prayed about it, and the Lord said, you need to stay home. And I said, well, you're going to have to talk to my husband about it, because he's not going to be okay with that. So anyway, I put in for a leave of absence, and I got it. And I did that for 2 years. It was a month-by-month type thing. Never spoke about it to my husband. Didn't ask him, which isn't okay. But he never knew I wasn't even not going to work until 8 months after that. And he said, he wasn't really upset about it. He just went, okay. 9 months after that happened, he was in a management position. He was a pilot management position. And they increased his salary to what I gave up.
The way you say that makes me think you believe the two incidences are related.
I do.
When you hear God's voice, can you describe for us what's that like? Is it like hearing a voice like mine that's external to your body? Or is it interior, like your mind or your conscience? What is that like?
It's like your conscience. And I have heard his voice twice. Two separate times. That's the only 2 times.
Externally?
Yep, externally. Thank you.
And was it like some booming thing like you see in the movies?
It wasn't. Oh, I don't know what I've seen in the movies, but kind of like your voice. Just like that.
Just a man's voice.
Just a man's voice, and 3 times, because you're like, it catches you off guard, and
so it repeats.
It repeats.
So as to
confirmation.
You've been involved in an organization called One Voice.
Yes.
Can you please tell us what that is and how the idea came to you?
Okay. One Voice is about the worship leaders coming together and having fellowship with one another, a relationship with one another, and to bring a sound from heaven to Vegas, to take off the hardened hearts of people. And how it started was I walk for exercise. And one time when I was walking, I don't get, like people say they get visions, dreams, that type of thing. It was like a vision. And as I was walking down the hill, I saw Vegas. And I saw a picture of the worship leaders singing sound in agreement, and it changed the atmosphere around Vegas. So I sat on that for 2 years, and I couldn't sit on it anymore. So I had called the Holy Spirit, told me to call my neighbor, called my neighbor. She actually had a vision of the same thing. So I asked her if she would help me, because I had to go to all the worship leaders in town that I could and see if they would come together. So we sent out 250 letters to different churches, whatnot, worship leaders, and 20 worship leaders came to this house. We talked to them, and of course, they had all heard they needed to do that anyway. It wasn't nothing new, but it never worked before. So for 12 months, we met once a month here. We prayed about it. We got the songs, we got the date. They were supposed to do it at the same time in their own churches to begin with. And that's what One Voice was. And One Voice is about unity of hearts, unity of people coming together with God.
Are all of the worship leaders who you approached Christian?
Yes. Yes. We did go to some Jewish churches. We did go to Catholics, Lutherans. I don't know. Everybody always says we're all Christian, which, okay. But what does that mean?
Well, people who believe that Jesus is Christ.
Right.
That
would be it. Right.
So
right.
You did include Jews. Did you also include Muslims?
Masonic Jews.
Messianic.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Messianic Jews. Yeah, we
but
did.
But not Jews who are not Messianic.
No.
Or Muslim,
no.
Or Hindu, or
no.
Buddhist, or...
No, we didn't go there. Please
tell us about your work with Pastor Rose.
About a year and a half ago, I was at a prayer meeting, and I just knew I was supposed to go to the prison, and I knew she went, so I asked her, and she goes to the women's prison. She's been doing prison ministry for about 15 years. Used to go to men and women's prisons with a church called Flaming Sword, it was called. And so anyway, I went with her, and I had to go through training. You have to go through training before you go into the actual prisons. So I did all of the paperwork and, all you need to do. And I really didn't know how to do what she does. So she does a whole service for 2 hours. So she'll do prayer, she does worship, she does communion, and she speaks a little bit and then prays for the inmates if they want. If they don't want, that's fine.
Please define forgiveness.
Forgiveness is, to me, means more about for me than it is for the other person. It's kind of like what it reminds me of, a backpack on your back. So say I had issues with my father, my mother, my brothers, sisters, friends,
employer,
or strangers, whoever, and they did an offensive thing toward me or spoke or said something to me, and I was upset, hurt, angry, whatever. But just to forgive them for maybe not knowing what they were saying or doing, and maybe it was coming out of themselves, not necessarily toward me. Maybe it was something I needed to pay attention to, but anyway, just forgiving them for that offense takes the backpack off of me, and I don't have to dwell on it or take care of it anymore. Because when I forgive them, I guess I put that in God's hands and say, okay, Lord, like you forgave me, I forgive them.
Are there any ways in which you are of service to the community that don't actively involve an understanding of Jesus for the other participant in the service?
There's certain places that I go, like Las Vegas Rescue Mission or Salvation Army, homeless people that go serve the homeless. And a lot of those places I don't say anything. I'm there to serve. If somebody wants to know, yes. If they don't, that's fine.
What was the first service project you remember working on in your life?
I would say being a candy striper when I was in junior high.
So just volunteering at the hospital?
Volunteering at the hospital.
Carrying pills?
Whatever. I think we didn't do pills.
Food, maybe food.
Food, water, they need to go to the bathroom.
Helping them to the bathroom.
Yeah, those kind of things, yeah.
One of our viewers was so traumatized by their childhood, the faith practice in which they were raised, or they were raised in none at all. And they hear about people talking about spirituality. They hear about a higher power. but they're still very rejectionist toward religion. If you say to them, read this passage from the Bible, they will
No.
say mean things to you.
No.
So, but they'd still like to have a spiritual experience. Is there some non-threatening, low commitment level spiritual practice that you can offer to someone like that?
To me, it's listening to that person. It's just listening to them. And if they want to tell their story, if they want to talk about their hurt, it's just listening to them.
So they should find someone who will patiently listen to them,
Yes.
whether that be a psychological professional or a clergy person or just a friend.
Right. And try to encourage them in where they're at and what's going on.
I'm going to describe two hypothetical viewers to you.
Okay.
One of them lives like you do, in a nice home. They're busy socially. Financial worry is not really a major part of their life at this point.
Okay.
And going forward, they don't see, a problem retiring or whatever on the horizon. They're good.
Okay.
And the other person is someone who's maybe struggling financially, maybe even serially unemployed. It's
Yep.
all they can do to get dinner on the table each day.
Yep.
Neither of these two people has ever done anything for anyone except for their own narrowly defined self-interest, which may include their spouse and children, but nothing else.
Okay.
Why would I speak to them together or separately? Why would these people want to be of service to someone or something other than themselves?
I know a lot of people on both sides. I have a particular one. Yeah, I know people on both sides. And to me, sometimes it just helps to do other things to take your mind off what you can't change. Or that's not there yet.
What could they expect to get out of it if they decided to offer service?
For one thing, because, a lot of places I go, I don't have a clue what to do. Like one time I went to the Salvation Army, I just knew I was supposed to go there, and went there, and it was a daycare. And so they showed me what was all available. Well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. And they took me to this one room, it was called Star Room, where they had difficult people. People, not difficult, they just had issues, like in wheelchairs, so you needed to feed them and do certain activities with them and that type of thing. She says, not too many people come here. I said, well, then I'm going to go here. So I did that. And it wasn't they allowed me. I don't look at it like I'm volunteering, like I'm, doing something really great for that person. They actually give me a gift. And that's because they allow me, whether they know it or not, they allow me to take part in their life. It's a person. It's a life. So I've noticed when other people reach out when they're having a really hard time and do service or wherever they want to go, even reading to young kids, whatever it is, it all matters. And they get something, some joy, or something happens inside of them, whatever it is, that actually satisfies them. So reaching out to me is more about if other people let you reach out to them. I don't know, for people on both sides, I think it's better just to try to continue to do, like some people I know that don't have a job, haven't had a job for 8-9 years, and they are struggling financially a lot of different ways, and when they went to go help other people out, some other positive things happened to them to help them get by, so they did have some food on the table or whatever the avenue, whatever it is. But they found that by continuing doing something, because they're not useless, they can still walk, move, breathe, you know what I mean? And it's really helped them a lot just to reach out and help someone else out until their circumstance changes.
Do you think that the act of reaching out to help someone changed their circumstance, or it was only coincidental?
I think it just encouraged them. And sometimes it did help their situation, sometimes it didn't, sometimes their situation was still the same. But it helped them. I saw a change in them.
One of our viewers was motivated by what you've just shared.